I don't know. It looked like it
Hi,
was
be
just gonna,
back in
hey,
a sec.
Ralph.
Because I
I
thought
know.
he came on at 8 last time.
It looked like it was gonna start soon. I'm trying to finish my dinner.
I ate early. Usually it's after our meeting that I eat.
I like to eat early too, but
Yeah, you were busy.
yeah,
I bet there's a lot of ballots coming in.
pretty consistent number every day, so that's good. I wish there was more personally, but hopefully some
Maybe,
people wait and
yeah.
and some people have finally just got theirs. So
Yeah. So tell me, when you drive, they got you going in a certain way and all that kind of stuff. And the guy that you talked to right there at the beginning, he goes, he has to check your vehicle and he looks at the license plates. What's that about?
they have to check for, because you know how we have the rules for no campaigning. They should tell you what they're looking for so people don't think that could be intimidating. I'll tell Diane that tomorrow because we never want to intimidate voters. You always want.
Yeah, I wasn't sure what that was about.
They're not reading your license plate. They're checking for bumper stickers because you can't campaign past a certain point.
Oh.
So if you have a bumper sticker on your car for a candidate, then you can't drive through there because that would be campaigning and having,
So what, you get out and walk through?
Correct. You have to park,
Yeah.
wherever close to the
I was telling my son that, and he goes, "Why are they checking?" I go, "I don't know what they're checking for." And he goes, "Well,
Yeah,
that's
they should tell you. They should just say because of the no campaigning signs, we just have to check for bumper stickers. Because people shouldn't feel like they're like looking at your license plate,
Yeah,
trying to
tell
get your
me.
identity or something.
He didn't tell me. I just said, "I'm just here to drop my ballot off." And he goes, "Okay, let me check your vehicle." And he walked back and looked at the license plate, and then he said, "Okay, you're good to go." And I'm going, "Okay." Not sure what that is, but okay.
They should say, I need to check your vehicle for campaigning.
Okay, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now I know.
Yeah. Hi, Rhonda.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, Rhonda.
Hi.
Hi, all. I guess I can turn off my reminder. Suppose I should turn on my
I
volume.
put my dog out. No. Come on. You want to play with this, you have to play with it outside.
So I'm going to record this, Sharon, so that we've got the for you to take notes.
Great. That's great. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Makes
I would
life a bit-
record, but I have to get permission from you to do it.
What's that now?
So it's just as easy to have you do it and send it to me.
You lost me.
I said, I pushed the record button and it said I had to get permission
Oh, yeah.
from you. So it's just as easy for you to send it to me.
Yeah, it is. I didn't get a request for a recording that I can see. So, well, I'm recording it anyway, so we're fine. Well, we have a minute to go. Does anybody have a joke?
A joke?
A joke.
Joke starts on NBC at 7 o'clock.
There you go.
Good one.
There's TJ O'Rourke today said, there's bad and there's damn bad, and there's our election. What are you going to do, right? And did anybody see the Saturday Night Live thing that they did?
Yes.
That was pretty, that's the first funny thing I've seen in a long time from those guys.
Which one? Which
Um,
skit?
It was the intro skit about watching the town halls, and they flipped back and forth between them. And I thought that was
Mm.
pretty cute. So anyways, I
I
will,
have both of the new episodes. um, on my recording. So if anybody, if somebody buys me an outside TV really quick, we could watch them together.
there you go. Well, we're waiting for whom? Joel and who else?
Fred said he was not going to be able to make it this evening.
Yeah, he did.
We're missing Dale.
Dale
Dale
said,
did not reply.
Dale said when I shot him an email, or actually I called him, and he said he'd be there. So, whoa.
Alert,
Well,
alert.
I'm getting an Amber Alert. Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Joel said he'd be here. So we just assume that he'll be a touch late because he's got a lot of stuff with school, and that's got him worried. Stephen, I'm not hearing you if you're trying to say something. Or is your
No, I just got on.
Oh, okay. Let's see.
Okay.
Dale?
Yeah, I'm on by phone.
Hello.
Yeah, I got the orange alert,
Am-
amber alert too. What's happening?
2 young boys with their mother
Pardon?
here. 2 young boys with the mother that are, I didn't vehicle.
Hey,
just-
Aurora.
In Aurora?
Yeah.
Oh.
Well,
There's Dale.
well,
Hey, Dale.
hi,
Hey,
Dale.
Dale.
And I'll shoot Joel a quick message. See if that-
Joel's on too.
Are you
He's
on,
got like a
Joel?
cool background.
Woohoo.
Nice.
See,
Well, let's get started. We'll start by things to celebrate.
Aren't we exciting?
Yeah.
Well, I have something to celebrate. My younger son wants to come for Thanksgiving for most of a week.
Nice.
Nice.
Good. Yeah.
Very cool. That would be Warren, right?
That would be Warren, yes.
How far does he come from?
Portland, Oregon.
Ah,
Anybody else?
Well, I think Rhonda should share her joke with the rest of the group of people that weren't on earlier because that was pretty funny.
Well, the question was, did anyone have a joke? And I said, well, I think it's starting on NBC at 7 o'clock.
Yay! Yay!
You're right, you just did.
I'm recording it as I speak.
Why?
You're very brave.
Because I need the laughs.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait and hear the laughs on Stephen Colbert tonight.
Good idea.
He'll be replaying and sharing.
Well,
Well,
Cool.
I really do think we ought to celebrate the fact that the election is, 12 days away. And
Yeah. And I think we should celebrate that and Julie might corroborate that 3,000 voters have already cast their votes in Gunnison County. and that a large proportion of them were Democrats and a nice big section of them were unaffiliated.
And most of them are here tonight. Yay!
Louise very carefully
I
went
voted.
through the booklet on what each thing was that she needed to vote on. So I'm ready to fill out my form. I just got to have her guide me through it.
I might mention that the League of Women Voters booklet is very succinct and gives the pros and cons very well. There's
In
several
plain
copies-
language.
In plain language. There's several copies of it at Democratic headquarters.
Doesn't
And
need
there's a-
that. I have a card I will give you, and it has all of the right answers on it.
I've been coaching all of my grandchildren how to get through it all. There's also some of those League of Women Voter booklets at my office in the foyer. And anyone who needs one is welcome to pick one up.
Cool. Joel has something to celebrate.
I do? What is that?
2 weeks ago, I guess it was.
We don't need to celebrate that. My birthday.
Joel is aged one more year. I believe he's 39, 95 now.
39. Hanging right tight at 39.
Happy birthday.
Great.
Thank you.
Birthday.
Happy birthday.
You're catching up to me, Joel.
I'm afraid so, Rhonda.
Well, shall we get started?
Please.
Approval of October agenda.
I move the approval of the October agenda.
I second.
Oh,
Any
Beat ya.
further discussion?
I did have one thing to point out, and that is that the group at the top says Boomers and Beyond. I think Sharon might have just,
Whoops.
not a big deal. I knew who it was.
Didn't catch that either.
Who seconded it?
I did. Joy. Or Joel. Only one difference letter or two.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? The October agenda has been approved. Approval of August minutes because the September meeting was canceled.
I move to accept the meetings of August.
Any second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed? Abstentions? Well, you know, I should ask, right? So they've been approved. Next thing on our agenda is the financial report.
Okay, I will report that the audit is basically completed. We got a copy of it yesterday, and I will run through it one more time. I've already reviewed some of the important information about how the auditor would split our expenses between the projects versus administrative versus fundraising. And I asked him to reallocate some of those expenses that he had allocated toward administrative and I told him those are definitely project expenses. And that's important because if a donor wants to see where we spend our money, they'd like to see that most of it is spent on the projects. So he fixed that for me. And then he only had one very minor change to all of the work that Julie has done. And that was to change switch some bookkeeping from mortgage receivables to the escrow account. They just got turned around in it. And it's clean as a whistle. And so as soon as we're finished reviewing it, it would be ready for them to send the final rendition, we have to sign a letter that says, send us the final rendition, and it will be completed. And I wondered if anyone else would like to see it before we ask for the final rendition. Maybe you, Rhonda?
Yes, I would.
Okay,
I'll take a look too, please.
okay. That would be great. We will do that. Yep, that's the end of my notes. Of the 3 adjustments, I should say, the 3 adjustments that we are going to make, one of them is imputed interest, which we make every year. One of them is depreciation, and then one is for those minor bookkeeping changes. So we'll just forward you his work.
Cool.
What was done, Vicki, with the imputed interest? Was it increased, decreased, or what?
It should decrease every year unless we get a new loan. And I didn't look compared to last year. I haven't had enough time to really do that much of a review from year to year. But it should decrease. I think it did. He did question whether or not we had any new mortgages. And I mean, we spent quite a little bit of time on the telephone. He just likes to verify things.
Yeah.
It was quite pleasant and really liked the work. So yeah, he wondered about that too. I said, well, the last one was a USDA loan that we're not carrying as many mortgages. We're trying to get mortgages outside of Habitat. So he understood that.
Thank you.
Onward to the staff report.
Have anything new really to report? If anybody has any questions.
I would like some clarification on the things you put about grants.
Okay.
And, you know, it doesn't have to be long and involved, just, it seemed like I didn't quite get what was applied for and what was denied or whatever.
Every time the Board of Realtors comes out with we apply, and this year, they didn't even, I've contacted her again, but they didn't even let us go beyond a letter of intent. Like, so I don't know if they just don't care about Western Slope things and they just fund, anytime I look at their funding things, it's mostly around Denver. We used to get money from them when the grant committee was run locally by the Board of Realtors here locally. But now all that money, and it used to be, Rhonda would remember, it was the Carhoff funds, or maybe they called it something different here, but now it's based out of Denver. And
Is there any local person to whom we might, I guess the word I want is complain?
I don't know, I'll ask.
You know, that surely we're not the only affiliate that this might make a difference for. If everything now is going through Denver, well, you know, Durango and Alamosa and a few other places might have a problem too.
Sure. So this isn't really through our state support organization. It's through. Okay. Yeah. Okay. But if I get what you're saying.
Yeah. No, I'm talking about the realtors' money. If it's all going to Denver, it's not going to some other affiliates either, and it might be worthwhile.
Other counties. Yeah.
It might be worthwhile seeing if there's a way to influence that.
Sure.
Are the funds generated from dues?
Well, I just wanted to make, so was that the one question you had? Was that the one you were wondering about? And then I'm working on the city grant. I'm trying to think of what, I'm not looking at that right now. What else was on? And then as soon as we this is kind of, I guess I should report to you. I talked with Roxy the other day at Western Lumber. because we're trying to work on our construction budget. I need to put it together for our city grant. And she said, I said, oh, I was gonna price up lumber like 30 to 40%. And she told me I should price it up 50%.
Ooh,
Yeah.
ooh.
Yeah, not good. So, so we're working on that. And as soon as that's done, then we'll apply for El Pomar. I'll do that one next. And is there anything else listed on there?
No, that clarifies what I needed to know.
Okay, cool. But yes, I will see if there's somebody locally that sits on like the board to that or something. Or if one of the realtors might know something about it. And I'm also going to ask our state support just to see if they know if any other affiliates in the state have ever, if they apply to that
Right.
and have ever gotten funds.
Well, it just doesn't make a lot of sense. If the money is collected throughout the state, then,
And we've had probably a lot of real estate sales lately.
yes.
Oh, you do. You
Oh,
do.
Mark.
I've been, it's unreal what's going on here. A lot of people are moving here, millennials with kids that can work from home, and they have money, and the prices have skyrocketed. I've just been talking to too many realtors, and even here at work, we had a gentleman that's a bus driver that sold his house, went out and is going to build another one. He owns a lot, but it's just people are putting their houses up just to see if they'll sell. So, you know, just right in our neighborhood, Julie, wow.
Yeah.
It's prices are up.
Well, and Dale and Rhonda, you guys are all in, you guys live in the fancy houses. I live over in the slums apparently where they want to change the zoning.
Oh, don't get started on that.
Well,
Kidding, kidding, just kidding.
even Pitkin is going crazy.
Julie, I have an addition to this part of your report, which is referred to in the last sentence of that same paragraph about
About you.
grants. And that is that I have made a strategic decision to call Jim Starr after November 3,
Cool.
given what he's up to right now.
Yes. He's very involved in politics, if some of you didn't know that. So.
He's actually the co-chair of the Democratic Party. So he's very busy right now. We all are.
And we're all praying.
For what?
For the right outcome. And we know what that is.
Everybody say, bye, Don, old Trump.
I have that sign right across the room. I just didn't want to put it out until it was a conclusion that it happened. I didn't want to jinx anything.
You're not jinxing it.
So you're sure it's going to happen?
I'm almost, it has to happen.
That's inappropriate. That's what we thought last time. Don't capture chickens.
Awesome. Any other questions for me?
Yeah, I'd like to know just a little bit more about this ditch business. I'm trying to picture where Hildreth, where his property is, since you're talking about tailwater, meaning coming across from, I assume, to the north of our property. But is
Correct.
that sufficient water really to make a difference in terms of a mountain roots project?
I'm not sure exactly what you're asking. Like, are you saying we'd be asking him for too much, or there's not enough? Or?
Since it's tailwater, Julie.
Oh, no. Okay, so let me explain. I get what you're saying now. So,
Does that make a difference?
why I was saying about April's property is because she's on the end, and the ditch that runs down New York that runs along her property is owned by Hildreth, and it goes from there to the condos behind. And I don't think, like I said, it doesn't really irrigate that anymore, but he still owns the water rights to it.
Right.
The water that then there's a turnoff valve that could come down 6th Street, and we've been putting in the culvert that would go in front of all the other Habitat houses. They are not getting access to water. They're only getting tailwater that goes down 6th Street if there's an overflow of what flows down New York.
Okay, all right.
So that's where it gets turned on and off. It flows down New York, but if we get really big years, they can open it so it doesn't flood, and they can get tailwater, but they're never just going to turn it on and flow, which we were never told at the time when we started developing the land that it was kind of explained that way. The exact word tailwater was never used, but it was just implied that they would only get water down 6th Street on big years of, lots of water. So, so we assume, we just, Joy put up her sign.
Just have to read backwards.
Sorry.
My question has to do with.
So the garden for Mountain Roots would be in April's backyard that would be pulling off the New York ditch.
Yes, okay, all right. So if we had access to that, it would be sufficient for a Mountain Roots project.
That's what we'd have to look into. I don't know. I mean, we'd have to first even ask Tracy Hildreth if we could do it. And then we'd have to ask Mountain Roots if they really wanted to do it for sure, if that was a good place for them. It was just a starting conversation.
Okay.
Nothing is in place. It's just, It was an idea that came about with like the collaboration ideas, which we still have not had a meeting yet, and I'm going to let Ralph and Killian do with the Cold Harbor thing, but the Mountain Roots people use the Cold Harbor land. It's kind of that,
Right.
Talk to them about, wouldn't it be great if they could help us feed our volunteers and our, kind of like a neighborhood garden that would give back to the community. And
right. Well, it does seem worthwhile exploring.
Yeah.
Well, let's make a point of it.
Julie, do you know when would he lose the rights to the water?
If he sold them, he owns
Okay.
them. He owns them. So even though he doesn't own the land, they flow to wherever, somewhere else. I really don't know.
Water law in this state.
Just
is
know that
really
he
screwed
was, I'm sorry, what's that?
up. Water law in this state is really screwed up.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And that,
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, that's why it's important that he does use them, otherwise he will lose them.
Exactly.
That's what I mean. So is he currently using them? as far as you
I would
know?
assume so. I don't know where, but the gal from the water board didn't make it sound like he wasn't or anything, but I don't know how much information she know,
But we might be able to help him to use them
correct.
if in need of finding a good agricultural use.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent way to pitch it.
Yeah. I will try to get a hold of him and see where that leads.
And make sure you tell him it's for the good of the community.
When we talked to him in the beginning about pulling some for April for her to use, he was okay with it, as long as he said, as long as he always had the minimum to pull when he needed it. So he was still using it at that point. We just haven't talked to him in a few years, and I'm just assuming he owns it. The water board implied that that was still, the owner was still Hildreth.
I would just check that out and
Yes,
reinforce it.
yes. I think I have his phone number somewhere in the office in the old Rolodex. It's not a Rolodex. It's old.
Huh?
Any other questions for me?
You said something about what we should do about the letters we send out at Christmas. And I think if you could, you know, put several letters in an envelope for each of us and leave them in the thing outside
halls.
your door, we could pick them up and do them and return them. And as far as Christmas goes, I just don't think we can do that.
You guys want to have a Zoom Christmas party?
Do we have a choice, really?
I
Well,
was-
yes, you have a choice to say yes to a Zoom meeting or just no, and we'll send each other happy, Merry Christmas emails.
I meant it the other way around. If we're going to have a party, we pretty much have to do it on Zoom, don't we?
Sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
at this point, yes.
I was going to say, Julie, about the donor letters. Do you have any record about which letters you gave to which of us to send to our particular friends?
No, but I think we've done it enough that I know kind of when I'm going through it, you know, you guys always kind of ask for the same ones, and I'll kind of spread them out. And if you specifically know somebody that you like, I know you always want to sign the McCormicks, and if there's people that you specifically want to write a note to this year, and you remember, you know, in the past that you've asked for that name, just send me an email about it, and I'll.
Okay, for me, my memory not there, but if you had a list of who you were sending them out, who you wanted to send them out to, I could sure check on that list and say, oh.
Oh
okay,
yeah, I can do that too. I can send it out to you guys, the donor
that
list.
would be good. I'd say I could take off 10 or 15 of them and take those and send them out, get them ready to
Okay.
be sent. Okay, great. Thanks, Julie.
Yep.
Would you mind, would it be too much of a problem for you, Julie, to drop my package of unsigned letters off?
Of course. No, not a problem.
Okay, and I can get them back up there. It'd just be helpful if I didn't end up going in that building twice.
We can do like what I usually do with you. I leave them out on your porch. Tell me,
Okay.
send me an email and say they're going to be back out there tomorrow, and I'll come pick them up, and you don't
Okay.
even go into the building.
Thank you very
I can
much.
do that with anyone too. I don't mind. You don't have to come up those stairs and whatever. I don't mind delivering them.
The stairs are okay, but the carpet, I don't know.
It's the paneling that's disturbing, really. I
And
always
we-
think I'm going to see like the little girls from The Shining at the end of the hall or something.
And we forgot to celebrate Julie's foot.
That's right.
Oh, yes. It's feeling much better. I'm in normal shoes again, and
Good.
hopefully I'll be in a ski boot in 4 weeks or something.
Could be this weekend.
Not ready for snow.
Me neither.
All right, any other questions or thoughts about the staff report that Julie gave us?
My
pen died, so I'm going to get another one. I'll be right back.
I just wanted to mention to everybody the idea of what Julie said we should take up at another meeting, and I definitely think it should be another meeting, to talk about how we treat our construction supervisor currently, Killian, as an employee or as a contractor. and whether it should be a administrative cost or a project cost. Just something for us all to think about and maybe address at another meeting.
I think when we do that, Vicki, I think we do need to have a conversation about that. But I hope that our conversation would be broader in the sense that we don't isolate the issue of construction supervision from the broader question of how and for whom we're building. It seems to me that the question around construction supervision is embedded in a broader issue. And so I would hope we would be able to incorporate at least part of that broader issue in that discussion. But I agree, we do need to have that discussion.
Great.
Well, I think I can help us a little bit with that. Finally getting to the discovering values process on our sheet. Julie, are you back?
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Yeah.
So I apologize for this taking so long. I realize that's a very Canadian thing to do. I should be more American and say, well, ladies and gentlemen, we have the best of all possible documents. You guys choose. One of the things I think I want to start this discussion with is I think we have a lot of evidence that suggests that the greatest organizations have fixed visions, and that those visions drive strategies and practices that are endlessly responding to a changing environment. So the goal of this exercise is to provide us with an opportunity to try to establish a fixed vision. So I think we're in a place right now with this organization that we can do that fairly well. I've been through this with you before, but we're doing a two-step process. First, we're determining what the core ideology of the organization, and then we're looking to create an envisioned future. The core ideology isn't something that we create. It's a discovery process. And that's why I talk with the people that have been in the organization for a long time. And the only person I didn't manage to talk to, Dale, I'm sorry we weren't able to connect. I think your input could have been helpful, and I do apologize for not managing that. That's the Canadian in me again. That's 2 apologies. Somebody going to keep track of these? Or not. So today what we're going to find out about is our core ideology, and that's made up of core values and purpose for the organization. And I'd like to give you one from Sony as an example of what these things look like, something concrete. This is from the 1950s, and I think it's fascinating. Their core values were 3 things: elevation of the Japanese culture and national status, being a pioneer, not following others, doing the impossible, encouraging individual ability and creativity. And then their purpose was to experience the sheer joy of innovation and the application of technology for the benefit and pleasure of the general public. And one of the things I really like about this, you notice that they're not talking about money in any of this. The dollars don't enter into it, but it's this whole sense of what we value, what it would be like working for us. And if this is the stuff that excites you, well, come on down and work with us, and we're going to do these really cool things. So I hope this gives us a sense of how this can work. So let me get into the core values again to give maybe a little bit more abstraction to it. Core values are the timeless guiding principles that do not require any justification. And if you
Is
remember,
anybody else getting feedback? I'm sorry.
Yes.
Yes.
where are we getting it from?
I think it's from, hey, Steve, are you muted? Because you're,
No, I'm not muted.
oh, something is going on your screen because your name keeps popping up with like the yellow circle around it, like you're trying to talk over Ralph or something, is what I see on.
Okay.
Do you
I was just talking just now. I turned off my other screen.
And
So,
yours is cutting out now too. It's kind of breaking up.
Oh, you are too a little bit.
You are.
We all are. Ah. Okay, let's try it again. Sorry to interrupt you, Ralph. I just
Oh, that's
was
fine.
having a hard time hearing that.
Yeah.
Okay. So when we look at the core values, we're looking at timeless guiding principles that do not require any justification. And if you recall, when I talked with you, I asked you to think about those things that matter to you without feeling the need to justify them. And let me give you an example, because they just are. I prefer tin roof sundae, and Louise prefers chocolate mint sundae. And that's just a value we have. It doesn't matter. Right? I mean, I prefer the one, she prefers the other. So we have a box of each in the fridge and life is good. Values, though, can get a little more demanding. Louise, when we get a bag of chocolate, she prefers to go through them one day at a time. I prefer to snarf them all at once, but to fulfill her values and her desires, I have to back off from taking chocolate out of the bag once I finished my share, right? And it can go even deeper than that into even more moral and ethical questions. Louise and I value a monogamous relationship. If either of us breaks that vow, it probably is going to be a deal breaker, right? So then the values can become actually prescriptive, telling us what we should and shouldn't do. But again, the ones we looked at were just the ones that just exist. And let me get into the purpose, which is the second part we talked about. And it's the reason for being. It's the soul of the organization. And that's what I was trying to find out. What is the soul of the organization as it currently exists? And these kinds of things, they'll last like 100 years. And the great organizations that have them have these deep-rooted sense of purpose that moves them forward for a long time. You could think of it as a star on the horizon, something that's essentially unattainable, but that always draws us toward it. So let me give you some examples. I like these. Here's one that the purpose of the organization is to give unlimited opportunities to women. Another one, to preserve and improve human life, to give ordinary folk the chance to buy the same things as rich people. And another example is to make people happy. And those are a little amorphous because how do you do that? Anybody, by the way, want to take a guess at which companies had which of those purposes? Anybody want to know?
Yes.
Okay.
Sure.
To give unlimited opportunities to women, that's the purpose of Mary Kay.
Yeah.
To preserve it, we're going to go out and think. That's it. That's all, right?
No, I want to hear more.
To preserve and improve human life is a company called Merck.
Yes.
They're one of the largest pharmaceutical companies in the
Yep.
world. To give ordinary folk the chance to buy the same things as rich people. This one may be a little easy. Walmart. And the last one is to make people happy. Disney. And again, the thing that's important here is that there's really no money involved or no specific outputs involved in any of these. These are just things that we believe are important for the organizations. So I'm going to share my screen with you in just a moment. And I want to show you our stuff. What do we think? And let's start with our core values. What I did is I took all the interviews, I collated them using a qualitative method. If you want to check to see if I did it right, check with Joel. And it was interesting because there was a lot of overlap. The biggest core value we have is building more than a home, building interdependence in the community. And as much as possible, I used your language, right? This isn't what I think. These are the core values that the people in the organization for a long time put out. Serve low-income families. Giving families hope through owning their own home was the third one. And these are like repeated over and over and over again when I ask you guys the questions. And then the final one is that everyone has a right to an affordable home. So these are the 4 core values that kept coming up again and again and again. And I think they're important.
I like it. I really like that everyone has a right to an affordable home.
Me too.
I actually like the first one an awful lot because that's community. That's the whole idea of what we offer to the people who already have affordable homes, even have rich homes, but we're all interdependent. That says a lot.
I used to have a bumper sticker on an old car and I was so bummed. I needed to get rid of the car, but I really wished I could have saved the bumper sticker. But it was diehard fan of having a roof over my head. And I really loved that bumper sticker.
It's a lot to take in at one level, isn't there? This is just what the organization is. Here it is. And the suggestion I have for us is we use this as that rock solid foundation. This is where we come from. This is what matters to us more than anything else. And I think it's important for 2 reasons. One of them, and I've noticed this for the time I've been working with us, is it's implicit in things people say and how people respond to the questions and the issues that come up. I see it as very implicit in how we have our conversations. And so I think it creates an exceptional foundation to move forward from. And if there's a Kool-Aid in Habitat for Humanity Gunnison Valley, well, this is it, right? It's the Kool-Aid we all basically drink. Want me to move on?
Yes.
Okay. The next thing then is our purpose, right? And that's the reason for being the soul of the organization, something that lasts for 100 years. And I think it's important to hear what I'm saying there. 100 years. This isn't something that's going to last for a couple of months or maybe a decade. This is the purpose, our purpose that would last for 100 years. We'll never, ever attain it because it's ultimately unattainable. But it's our shining star, our guiding light. It's the soul of the organization. And here it is. To serve our community by providing safety, comfort, and hope through creating homes for the disenfranchised. We can ignore the of, but I apologize. That's 3 now. I mean, that's really pretty profound. And we know we're never going to attain that perfectly, are we? Because there's always another disenfranchised person or family that we can find for whatever reasons. But this is what we care about more than anything else. Providing safety, comfort, and hope. And that hope thing came through so many times. That was so important to the people I talked with. And the mechanism is creating homes. That's how we think we can do it. We create homes for people. Yeah, that of did belong in there. I apologize. That's 5 now? So should I leave this with you all for now? Just let you think about it, or do we have thoughts about it?
I guess I would say that disenfranchised might be a little, well, and you mentioned that it's something we may not be able to achieve ever, if in 100 years or not, because not all disenfranchised can be helped. We can't create homes for all disenfranchised people. We can help some of them, maybe 1 or 2 of them a year, but all disenfranchised. I mean, some people would never be able to attain what we require of a homeowner. We require somebody who is capable of being a part of the community. And some disenfranchised people will never be capable of being part of a community. They don't, they ain't got what it takes. It does take some kind of involvement. So I guess that's my one, maybe it's something to strive for, but I'm pessimistic, if that makes sense.
I think for me, the problematic word is all. not for the reason that you've identified, Vicky, but because there simply are too many.
Yeah.
You know, but, you know, and sometimes we, over a period of time, we learn that some we thought initially couldn't make it, in fact, did make it or could make it. So I have a little problem just personally in making a judgment about possibility. But I do have a little problem with the term all, simply because the numbers are just beyond us.
It's a shining star. I mean, if we could take out a magic wand,
Yeah.
right? We can't. We all get that, right? But if we could,
I agree with Rhonda and Vicky in a sense of the all, like, I think, everyone deserves, you know, shelter. Everyone deserves, a home, safety, the comfort. I like that and everything. But I think we also, like Vicky was saying, we always have said we're not a hand out, we're a hand up. And it is about wanting, not everybody wants to be homeowners, or not everyone's ready to be, or they're not in a place where the homeownership piece is different than, say, providing safety and comfort for people through Section 8 housing, through better, we should care about people in our society that are disenfranchised, that might not be homeowners. We should care that they're living in substandard housing, and that that our public housing, in a sense, is a better quality for people. But I don't know if that's exactly Habitat for Humanity, because Habitat for Humanity is focused on the home ownership piece of breaking that generational, the cycle of poverty, breaking generational cycle of poverty. That, like Vicky said, it's hard, and Rhonda, all of the disenfranchised for home ownership might be, but I agree with you. It's the shining star to reach for, but.
Ralph, I have a question for you.
sure.
As you interviewed us and worked through this and thought about it, was there a way or hints of a way to think about disenfranchised, the meaning of the word disenfranchised?
No, not really. It was a word that came up when I talked with you, and so it went in because that was important. And that's how we saw it, or I'll say you saw it, because my opinions aren't in here. That's what it just kept coming up.
Yeah, well, it was just a matter of curiosity more than anything. Not that a definition should have arisen. I just wondered if it did.
No, it didn't. No, it didn't.
Leave it with us.
Beg your pardon?
Leave it with us,
Oh,
all
yeah.
of us. We can think about it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's,
I think I could rework this whole sentence to make it a little more realistic, or maybe too fuzzy. I don't know, but I want to work with it.
well, here's our next step, right? We have this thing that we've talked about. And so now what we want to do is come up with some big, hairy, audacious goals, known as BHAGs. And we also want to come up with a vivid description. Those are our next two steps. So we're going to look at the big, hairy, audacious goals first, and we'll leave the vivid descriptions for later. When you have an audacious goal, you really want to dream big, right? You don't want to just kind of go something, so-so. You want to dream really big over a 10 to 30 year timeline. So we look at ourselves with the values that we have, the purpose that we're expressing. How do we do this? And I think it addresses a couple of points that have come up. One is, well, what does disenfranchised mean? And also, well, this seems so amorphous, so far away. How do we reach it? It doesn't seem possible. And here is where we nail it down, make it a little bit more practical. It becomes more something we can do at a concrete level and where we want to go to. We're still not at a vision yet, right? We're now starting to think about what our values are, what our purpose is. Well, what can we do and what do we want to do? So target BHAGs, there's a couple of types, are qualitative or quantitative. So let me give you some examples again. Become a $125 billion company. Democratize the automobile was what Ford wanted to do. That's more qualitative. We could come up with, we want to build X houses over the next 10 years. Do we want to build 1,000 houses? Do we want to build 2,000 houses? The idea is to really think big. Do we want to build certain kinds of houses, right? Those are the things we need to think about now as a board and start to put some flesh on the bones, so to speak, so that we have a handle on what we can do. We still want to dream, right? We still want to dream that as much as we can. We understand that we can't help all of the disenfranchised, right? We get that, but that's where we're heading. That's our shining star. Well, what can we do to at least try? What can we do over the next 10 to 30 years to try? And one thing we do well to notice here is the chances are pretty low that any of us will be alive anymore come 30
Yeah.
years down the road. But we provide the foundation for the organization to move forward. So it knows what it's doing. And a lot of times people will go, well, gee, Ralph, that doesn't make sense because the world changes. And of course, our strategies and our activities will change. But our goal can be established. And why we want to do this is it will make our life and the organization's life and the people that get involved with it down the road way easier. We won't always have to be wondering, what the heck are we going to do? Where are we going to go? All we have to worry about is do you buy this? And if you buy our goals, our BHAGs, come on board the bus and let's work together to make these things happen. If you don't buy the goals, peace be with you, right? I know one guy who just lost his wife to breast cancer. His interest is to come up with a way to help lower breast cancer. He has zero interest in other things. It's not wrong, right? That's where his heart is. And I think it's important to let his heart be there. And we want to find people whose hearts are in the direction that we set. So it becomes really important and really valuable for us to think through these BHAGs and come up with something that makes sense for all of us so that this organization has got an amazing foundation that it doesn't have to dig into again. It doesn't have to do visioning exercises every year, which is absolutely the worst thing an organization can do. It has a clearly defined goal and set of objectives that it wants to get to. You can also think in terms of role model BHAGs, becoming as respected in 20 years as Apple is today. One that Stanford had in the 1940s, become the Harvard of the West. I think they succeeded, but they were next to nothing in the 40s. Maybe for us, become the Heart Foundation of small town habitats for humanity. And that's a pretty big goal. I'm not saying it's the right one. I just tried to think of something that would express an idea for us to work with. So there's our job. This is what we have next. I hope we want to do this, and I hope we do this. Out of this come important things like Julie provided us an assessment for the board. We then have a clear way of measuring, is the board accomplishing this? We can then come up with clear measures for the people that are working for or contracting with the organization, because we have clearly defined objectives, and then we can outline clearly defined behaviors and actions that people need to do to attain those objectives, and we can measure on a yearly basis, quarterly basis, whatever, doesn't matter at the moment, of ensuring that we're working to get where we need to get to and providing support both for the board and for the people working for the organization so that we can get to those goals. We'll worry about the vivid description. I'm thinking let's try to get it done for February if we're going to do this. I will send you all a copy of what we've got. I'll send you a little instruction sheet to remind you of all the things we covered, at least that I covered here. And you can look at it. And I think this board is in an incredibly excellent situation to try to do something really special. And I hope we do. And that's what I hope.
Thanks, Ralph.
Oh, you're welcome. It was a joy. Well, I guess it falls to me as the chair to say, well, I assume we have no more questions about the old business and we can move on, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Move it.
All right, new business, performing appraisals for executive director and board members.
I can leave. Me.
I don't think we should do that right now, in my opinion,
Oh,
Julie, because we have no standards against which we can assess you. And
oh, okay.
I mean, that's my take on it. Let me
I
babble.
didn't know if you guys wanted me to leave the meeting and you can all talk about me.
No,
No. Oh.
we don't want to be here that long.
I would personally prefer a format of some kind that identifies for me the things I need to think about.
In
I think
terms
that's
of Julie's work, or?
Yeah. Mhm. And I think that's what you were referring to in terms of standards.
Yes. I mean, if we're going to follow the model I'm proposing, we shouldn't be measuring Julie on things until we have that nailed down. Then we can give her a list of here's what needs to be done, here's what we expect. And so she has a really clear picture in her head of what she's working with. Otherwise, we're going to be guessing forever. And that's just, in my opinion, insane. And I think it's really hard on Julie and really hard on us. I hope I'm not being overly aggressive here. That's the sixth apology.
Good.
We do have the one board member evaluation form, which has some sort of process of what we're talking about that you've asked us to complete. The Habitat has that format, and that sort of goes in the same direction as Ralph's process toward the vision that we have. It lines out some of the things that we are, as board members, have as responsibilities, et cetera.
Correct.
Yep, I certainly don't think we should throw that away. Or in more positive language. Let's take a look at it.
That was a form, that was a form from the Community Foundation on maybe a seminar or something that we went to, and I can reach out to them and see if they have one on staff evaluation. I didn't have anything in the documents that I could find.
I was sort of at a loss when the auditor asked me. The auditor specifically asked me, are we satisfied with Julie's work? And I basically off the cuff said yes, and that because she believes in our cause, and we would be hard pressed to find anyone else who believes as strongly as Julie does in our cause. That's very simplistic, but because he put me on the spot with that question, that's my answer. And I said, she does a good job, obviously, by the work that we submitted for the audit. It's getting done from my vantage point. And we all have a different vantage point to maybe assess the performance. But it might be that the foundation would have some guidance on that, and as it paralleled with our new process that we're going to now. Maybe you could weigh in on that, Ralph, when we get that.
Oh, absolutely. I have access to a ton of stuff from, well, I specialize in organization behavior and how humanoids work in organizations. And there's a ton of approaches, and I would certainly offer some opinions as to approaches that we can use that will be fair. I think that's really important and beneficial both to us and to Julie, so that when we talk, she's not just getting some checklist, we can provide constructive feedback, because as excellent as Julie is, I'm not sure she's perfect yet. So, okay.
Of course not. Of course not.
Thank you for laughing, Julie. I appreciate that. You know, at least somebody did.
No, I think it's important because I value all of your opinions, and I know they would be constructive, and I want what's best for the board, just like, you know, or the organization, as much as you guys. So,
well, if we want to become phenomenal, here's our, in my opinion, here's our chance. We can go and rock it and create something that people can do very cool things with over the next 30, 40 years.
awesome.
Right now, we have to do it confidentially.
Ooh. Not
Sorry.
sure I'm going to laugh at that, but it's sweet.
I like that.
Other stuff for now, or should we just let all these things kind of percolate in our mind for a while and decide where we want to go and what we want to do? That would be my suggestion.
Have we decided that there will not be a meeting in November, that we would just pick up our letters and get those back to you, Julie?
Sounds kind of like what you guys all agreed on.
I think we should have a regular board meeting end of November again, so we can keep moving forward on this. This is, in my opinion, this is dragged along long enough. And I would suggest that we have our regular board meeting. There's signing to be done, which we have to process in a different way. But in my opinion, I would strongly suggest that we have a regular board meeting in November.
So we just need to decide what day, because our typical board meetings are the fourth Thursday of the month, and that falls on
Thanksgiving.
Well, that's interesting for you Americans, us Canadians.
Well, you can have a board meeting all by yourself, Ralph. All of us will be like
So
When in Rome.
asleep from the turkey.
there you go. Well, what if we do it on the Tuesday instead of the Thursday? How does that feel?
Do people have guests in town for the holidays? Do you guys want to do it like the Thursday before?
Yes.
I will have a conflict on the Tuesday before.
Yeah, let's do the third Thursday.
The 19th?
Yeah.
Perfect for me. Actually, hang on just 1 second. Louise is having surgery, and I don't think it's on the 19th. May I please check with her?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Get her out of the closet. Sorry. I'm so sorry.
No, you're not.
I've just had a really bad day and I need to laugh.
Oh, that's not good.
This is my fourth Zoom this week. And this morning, the cat brought in a live big bird and I've been trying to chase it out of the house. It came in at 9 a.m. and left at almost 6.
Oh, joy.
And I'm just so, I mean, I love birds, but birds just don't get it that they can't get outside from a window that doesn't open. When there's 3 doors open, they could fly out of. And I finally had to throw a big old towel on this bird and take it outside and said, "Fly, baby." But I spent the whole day chasing this damn bird and I'm really tired.
So Louise's surgery is on the 19th, and she says that she'll be out of surgery long by then, and we should, if we can go for 5, we should just go ahead and do that. I am willing to take her generosity if you guys are.
That's your call.
Well,
Yeah,
Well,
you can update us on the spot, but
yeah, I can. And she'll probably want me out of her recovery room anyway, right?
probably.
No comment.
okay, what's the date again? 5 o'clock on what date?
The
The
19th.
19th.
Thursday, the 19th,
All right, thank you.
All right.
until further notice.
Well, she's given me the complete go-ahead, so that's fine.
Thank her for us.
I will.
Yes,
Absolutely. I think it's
and wish her well. I wish you all well.
well. Thank you. It should be pretty straightforward. And besides which, I don't know if you guys know this or not. I once did a job interview on the top of the Hoover Dam, so I mean, it can't be that hard.
Damn hard.
The worst of it was trying to get people who were up looking at the same Outlook going, no, go away. And they're looking at me on the phone going, is this guy nuts? And I'm trying to go, yeah, I am. No, go away.
Oh, I should.
Anyway, shall we go on and finish the meeting?
I'm zooming into my Halloween decorations for you guys.
Yes, please.
There you go. I move we end the meeting.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Take care all. We'll talk soon, and I will be inundating you with emails and may even phone you and stuff to keep this process moving forward.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Good deal.
Cool.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ralph.